Okay, dear students, so today we are just going to study function. So what basically the function definition is, and after that we are going to discuss its different types. So a function is actually as a set of instructions that are designed to perform a specific task, right? So like when we are going to write a code, right? So that's like we group a certain lines of code in a block, so we basically call that one a function. So a function is a set of instruction, right? It is giving some instruction to perform some specific function. Like for example, if I just write a function for addition, so that function will only perform the addition task. Or if I want to write a subtraction function, so that function will just only perform the subtraction task. So that's why we call that one just like an independent program. So a function is a complete and independent program. Basically the function is only executed by the main function. So the main function got this responsibility to execute all other function, right, that's in that program. So basically we are dividing that program, that hundred of lines of program, into smaller units, independent units that is used to perform some specific task. And that's why one should use a function, right? Like for example, the functions, why we if somebody asks why we are using function, because if like the structure programming, if we are going to use the structure programming, right? So in the structure programming, we have to write the code, and then that code is executed line by line, and then all the lines executed, and finally we get the result. So that's an easy way. While in function we got jumping, right? Sometimes we want to execute one function, one task, sometimes we want to perform another task. So that's like a bit difficult, right? But if we just see, it's easy in terms that, like for example, if I want to write 100 of line of code, so it just make that one more compatible, right? And so then you can easily distinguish in these lines of code that which lines of code are performing which type of task. So the function are written, right, to write the code of a large program by dividing it into smaller units. Like for example, if I'm writing a program for calculator, so it got different tasks like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So these small, like for independent tasks, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, these all are divided into different tasks, and then we together, when we gather all this code, so then it's performing the function of a calculator. So basically this is a small unit, right, small independent program. And program is divided into smaller units, so mean more people can work on that simple program, right? On that program, more people can work on that independent unit. Like for example, one person is performing the addition task, another one is writing function for subtraction, another one is writing function for the addition, and then we together all these gather all this code and to make a simple calculator, right? So basically the function is a smaller unit, right, of a code, independent unit. The advantages of the function is that it basically avoids replication of code in the program. We do not have to write the code again and again, but we just only write it single time in that function. We define that task like addition, subtraction, and then whenever we need that one, we just only have to call that function, right? So in this way, similarly in large program, for example, a person need to execute addition function certain time, right? He want to do addition more for 5 times. So what he do, he will have to call this addition function again and again. So function is basically providing us this facility that we can execute that function several times, right? Similarly, instead of writing the code several times, the code is written only once as a function, and this function is called to execute its code again and again. So basically that is the advantages of the function. So if we just look to that one, so in that concept we got two types of function. One is the built-in function and the another one is the user-defined function. So just like the names showing that built-in function, that mean this is something which is coming with the compiler built-in, right? We are not going to do anything with that, right? And the user-defined functions are those functions which the user is defining it for himself according to his need. And these built-in functions are like general one, most of the people will need this thing. That's why the compiler it's coming with the compiler built-in. Like if the built-in functions that have already been defined as a part of the language and can be used in any program are called a built-in function. Like for example, we got the clear screen, the get ch. Like clear screen is clearing the screen for us, get ch is getting the character for us, it's echoing that one, it's getting the character for us, right? Similarly, go to xy telling us to go to the position, the put character is mean like to put that character. So these are basically the built-in function. There are more built-in function as well, and their advantage is that it's common in use. That's why it's coming built-in, right, with that program. Now we are just going to see that built-in function. So I'm writing a simple program, right? So I'm just going to write a simple program for us. Okay, so I'm going to launch the Turbo C environment, right? Okay, so here I'm just going to start a new program, and I'm just going to name that one as for example, save that one as a function practice, or your built-in function. Okay, built-in function, right? So I will save that one. Okay, I'm just going to write that one, right? Okay, so include stream attach hash include h console input output and void main. That's the main function that's going to execute our built-in function for us. So I'm just going to write here the cout, right? It's completing its syntax, and then just going to write the hello world in that one. So, and after that, if you just see, I will just run this program, right? Compile that one and run. So okay, I can't see the output, and I just want to see the output file. I will be using the get ch. That's the built-in method. So that will holding a screen for me, right, for a certain time. Compile. Okay, and then alt run. Okay, hello world. You will see that we got two output here, although I just write only a single hello world here. That's because my screen was not clean, so for clearing the screen, I'm just using the clear screen. That's also the built-in function. So everybody need that built-in function, so that's why we gonna that's been defined by the system, because everybody need that thing. Okay, so now see, we can't see that second output, that hello world. So thank you for watching, and in the next class we will be continuing with the user defined function. So thank you very much for watching. Okay, dear student, last time we discussed about the function, and then we define its two types. That we got two types of function. One is the built-in function and another one is the user-defined function, right? In the built-in function, we already discussed that, and we see that example as well, that these are the functions that are being defined by the language because they are used commonly. Like for example, clear screen, get ch, get che, put character, char, etc. So these are the built-in functions that were used by us in the program. So now today we are going to discuss about the user-defined function, right? So what is the user-defined function? A function that is created by a user are called user-defined function. Like that, before this function, the built-in function that were defined by the language, right? But now if we need something to write a function of our own for that task, like for example, I just want to write a function for addition of two number, or for the subtraction of two number, or for finding out the factorial, right? So these functions are not defined by the language. So definitely a programmer will write his own function for that. So these type of functions which are created by a user are called user-defined function, right? So these functions are written as a part of the program to perform a specific task, and these functions are written for a specific use, right? As I told you, that means, like for example, if I got a big program, right, a huge program, yeah, I'm just creating a software, right? So I got different module in there one, I got different functions in there one, I got different tasks in that, right? So for that I have to write different function. Like for example, if I'm just going to design a calculator, so if I'm designing a calculator, so definitely I will need an addition operation there as well. I will need subtraction operation, I will need multiplication, division, modulus, right? Similarly, if I'm just going to design a scientific calculator, so I will need a lot of function there, right? So all these functions will be defined by a user, right? So a user will write his own specific code for performing these operations for this function, right? So that's why we call that one a user defined function, because a user create that one according to his need, right? So if we just go in detail and we're going to study the parts of the user defined function. So what are actually the parts of this user defined function? Because if somebody is going to write a user defined function, so he need a knowledge of basic knowledge of all these things, and which we say that mean he will be having a knowledge how to declare a function, how to define a function, and how to call a function, right? Like what he should give a name to that function, what operation it will be performing, and how we are going to tell the function to perform that task for us. So basically a user defined function has three parts. If you are going to write a user defined function, so we will be having three parts of that, right? And with the first one is the user function declaration, right? And then function definition, and after that the function calling. So in the coming lecture we are going to discuss the function declaration in a little bit more detail, right? So subscribe this channel so that you get all the latest updates, right? Whatever we are uploading to this one, so that will help you. You will get a notification for that one, and so it will help you to make your study easier. So when we are uploading a video, so you will definitely get a notification, and then you will be able to see that one. Okay, so dear student, thank you very much. In the coming lecture we will discuss the function declaration. Thank you. Okay, dear student, so last time we discussed about the function, and after that we discussed the built-in function. After that we discussed the parts of the user-defined function, and now we are studying the parts of the user-defined function. So as we have studied before that, we know that a function definition, whenever a user is going to define his function, it has three parts. One is the function declaration, second one is the function definition, and the third one is the function calling. Okay, so first of all is the function declaration, right? So the function declaration, it is actually providing us the model right? It's providing us a model of the function. It is also called the prototype. Like for example, in function declaration, we need the following information about the function. We should have to give a name to the function, right? And similarly, we should have to define its return type, right? Type of data this function is going to return to us, right? When it's perform its task. So what type of data is going to return us, right? And then in that we have the number and type of argument, how many number of argument and what will be the type of that argument, or we can simply call the parameter, right? That will be used in the function. So the function and declaration, and basically in that we have to provide these three information. If we want to design a function, or we want to write a function for some specific task, like for addition, so definitely if this addition of number is going to be performed on the two number, so we should have to write the function name, like for example addition, or we should have to write that one plus or something like that, relevant name, right? And then when the operation is performed, like addition of two number is performed, so what type of data is going to return? So definitely the addition of two integer number will be an integer, so we will have to write its return type integer. Or if you don't want to return any value, so we should have to write the void, void, right, instead of the its return type. And similarly, if it's going to perform on two variable, we are just going to pass that variable, so we should have to write its two parameter type, right? Two integer x or integer y or integer num1, integer num2, so we should have to write its two type of parameter, right? And semicolon is used at the end of the function declaration to indicate the end of the function declaration. Whenever we are going to declare a function, so we should have to put a semicolon at the end of that, so that it shows us the end of the function declaration. The function declaration, if you just look to if you just look to its syntax, right? So its syntax is just like similar to the variable, like you write the types, then the variable name, just like we were before writing integer num1, and after that we put the semicolon, right? So it's like similar to that one. So if you just look to the syntax of the function declaration, so it shows us that in example 1, if you just look right here in the syntax, the type of the function, we should have to write its type, then we should have to give us a name, and if we need an argument, so we are parameters, so we will give the parameter here and then put the semicolon at the end. So that will be like the function declaration. Like example 1, if you just look, we doesn't need any return type, so we have write the void, and its name is display, right? Because the function is just only used for displaying something. And then we don't need any parameter in that one, so we have to write void in that one. But if we need a return type, right, for example the operation that the function is going to perform, and it's in return giving some type of value, integer, okay, string, character, float, or whatever it is, and that should be returned to us, so we should have to write that return type, and that return type should be written here. There should be integer, float, or anything, right? And then its name, and similarly we want to pass the two parameters, so we should have to write, like for example integer num1 and integer num2, right? And that's its type of the parameter, and that's its name, right? So we can write like that. Example 2, the parameter of the function can be integer type, float, double character, string, or whatever data type, okay, you are just going to use, so you can pass that parameter to that one. Similarly, for the return value of the function, you can use integer, float, double, or structure type, anything, right? So you can use that one. Okay, so after that we are just going to discuss the second one, that's the function definition, right? So in the function definition, basically we are just going to define that function, that for example which type of operation it is going to perform. If we are writing the code in that for addition, so definitely they will be performing operation addition for us. If we are writing the code for the subtraction, it will perform the subtraction. If we write that function for taking some data from us, so that function will be performing that. If we want to write display something, right, so we will write the code for that one. So the function definition is basically is showing us that which type of operation it's going to perform. So the actual code of the function is called function definition. It is a set of instructions that are written to perform some specific task. As I told you, that means what type of operation you want to perform, so you should have to write the code for that there. The function definition is always outside the main function, right? And outside the main function you should have to define that function, that which operation is going to be performed, right? It can be written before or after the main. You can write it before, it's your own style, wherever you want to write it, right? It can be read in separate files, and if in separate file you write that one, then you should have to include that one in the hash include directory, just like you include the hash include connew and these things, right? Okay, if we just go in detail, the function definition basically consists of two parts then. One is the declarator and another one is the body of the function, right? So first we are going to study the declarator, right? So the declarator, it is like the heading line of the function, right? The first main line of the function, right? The heading line of the function defines the same as the function declaration. That's we have declared the function declaration. But in the declaration, we should have to put the semicolon at the end of that one. But in the declarator, we are not going to use the semicolon, but it will be followed by a parenthesis, right? In which we have to write the body of the function, in which we have to write the operation, in which we should have to write this type of code which is going to perform that operation for us, right? So in that basically return type, then it's function name, and then after that we have parameter list here, right? And similarly in these two brackets, right, in these two curly brackets, we should have to write the set of statement, which will be, for example, if you want to write that one for the addition, so here we will write that integer sum is equal to num1 plus num2. That will be giving us addition. If we write num1 minus 2, it will be performing the operation of subtraction for us, right? So it's basically body of the function, and declarator is like this heading line of the statement, right? And the body of the function, that's I told you that, I mean, in these curly brackets, whatever you write, that's called the body of the function, and that will be performing that operation for you, for which you have written that function, right? In the third place, we are going to discuss about the function calling. If we have declare a function, after that we have defined a function. So now if we need that function to perform that task, so how we will be performing that operation? So that's because of the calling. We should have to call that function, right? For example, if we want somebody to do this task for us, so definitely we should have to call him by his name. For example, I will just say CR, please do this for me, right? So CR is his name, right? For example, Ali is his name, right? For example, Waqar is his name, so I will call him Waqar, please perform this operation. So definitely if I say Waqar, so Waqar will perform this operation for us if we have defined the task for him. So similarly is the function calling, right? In the function calling, right, when we giving a call to the function, so we will refer it by its name. So executing the statement of the function to perform a task is called calling of the function, and we usually refer it by its name, as we have already given it some name, maybe some type of addition, some add, some etc. We sub or add, divide it. We have given it some name, so we will be calling its name, and it will performing that operation for us. After executing the statement in the body of the function, the control return to the calling function, right? So it's return that one. If we have returned a value, so it will return a value there, or if not, so it will return the control there, right? And then after that, the next statement is run immediately after that statement executed. If you just look to the example, so the example will make it clear. Right, for example, write a program to print a message on the screen using a user-defined function. So what we will do, just like usually we write hash include a stream, hash include connew, right? And after that we write a function. We are going to declare a function. So a function declaration, I told you we should have to write its return type, then after that its name, and if we got some parameters, we will write this parameter here in the small brackets. And if we don't need the parameters, so we are not going to write anything here, right? In this case, I'm not returning any value, and I'm not passing any parameters to that one. So I have declared a function here, and you can see that's followed by here by a semicolon, right? So that's function declaration. After that, we are somebody will be defining this function outside the main bar, right, above the main or below the main. So if you just look here, so after that the main is executed, main execute the clear screen, and this one is called the function calling. That's, I told you that when we refer the function by its name. So when we calling the display, so this display will come here, right, and here the declarator, that's called the declarator, right? It's the same like this function declaration, but it's not followed by the semicolon, it's followed by two curly brackets, right? So that's called the function declarator. Here this whole statement is called the function, like from void display this one to it's my function program, and to this curly brackets, right? It's like a function definition. So in the function definition, as we have already discussed, we got two parts. One is the declarator and another one is the body of the function. The body of the function is written here in between these two curly brackets, right? And the declarator is here, right? The declarator is same as the that one is same as the function name. Okay, so declarator is same as the function declaration. The declarator is same as the function declaration, but it's not followed by semicolon. So if we call a function, so that function transfer is control here, and it's my function program that will be displayed on the screen, and after that it will display the again when the body finish. So control will come here and see what OK will be displayed, and then this method getStage will hold a screen for us for some time, right, until we press the button. So I hope you will understand this by this example. Just try to write that code in Turbo C editor or Rev C++, right? But I have just tried that one in Turbo C++. So I hope it will make clear the concept of function definition, calling, and function declaration, right? Okay, students, thank you very much. Like and subscribe the channel, right, so you get all the latest lecture notification on your mobile, and so then you are not going to miss any lecture. So that will help and make it easy for you to stay in contact. Thank you very much.